All right, welcome to today's roundtable discussion on IT project management. My name is Michael Armstrong. I'm a student at the University of Maryland Global Campus, enrolled in the IT project management course. All right, so today we'll focus on essential project management topics, including human factors and communication, project plan development, risk management, critical path analysis and Gantt chart, and the project closure. So feel free to join the discussion with questions or examples from your experiences. All right, so I have an icebreaker poll. You just put whatever A, B, C, D, or E. So let's take a moment to engage in a quick icebreaker poll. Which aspect of IT project management do you find most challenging? A, planning and scheduling. B, risk management. C, stakeholder communication. D, resources allocation. Or E, project closure. And you can just put your answers in the chat. Okay, it looks like planning and scheduling is a top concern for many of you. So thank you all for participating in the poll. All right, we also have a project closure. All right, moving on to human factors and communications. So communication is not just a soft skill, it's a critical factor that can determine the success or failure of IT projects. Diverse project teams are a reality in today's globalized world, but they can bring unique challenges like cultural differences and personality clashes. For instance, cultural variations in how teams perceive hierarchy or deadlines can lead to misunderstandings. So, to address these challenges, we emphasize active listening, which means truly understanding what's being communicated rather than preparing your response. Then there's also cross-cultural training is another vital tool, learning how different cultures approach problem solving or feedback can prevent miscommunication. And then finally, team building exercises. They foster trust and camaraderie, creating a foundation for effective collaboration. So, do anybody have any questions on human factors and communications?
I have a question. Can you share an example of how poor communication impacted a project you were involved in?
Sure. So, I don't have much I don't have any experience in IT. I am in the military. I am a satellite controller. So, just based off my job, there was a time when a critical satellite task was delayed because the instructions weren't clear about who was responsible for each task or each step. So we end up duplicating the work and wasted time, which taught me how important clear roles are, giving people clear roles and instructions. Thank you for your question, Catrice. All right, moving on to here's a diagram of communication workflow. So successful communication is the core of any IT project. So this workflow diagram shows how structured communication improves efficiency and reduces misunderstandings. So in the blue, you have your team members, the blue circles. They're responsible for executing tasks and providing regular updates on progress. They also communicate upward to the project manager, sharing updates and raising issues or concerns. And then you have your project managers in the green circles. They act as the central hub for communication. They receive updates from the team members, synthesize this information, and communicate it to the stakeholders and the clients as reports or project statuses. They also provide feedback and guidance back to the team members to ensure alignment with the project goals. And then in the orange, you have your stakeholders and clients. They receive the reports from and project statuses from the project manager. They provide feedback or request changes, which the project manager conveys back to the team member for actions. All right. Next, we have project plan development. So creating a solid project plan is much like designing a blueprint. It helps align goals, resources, and timelines in a structured way. So every step from defining clear objectives to assigning resources and setting milestones plays a crucial role. Then you also have the integrated change control. It's especially important for managing changes effectively, ensuring they are carefully evaluated and approved. So remember tools like Gantt charts and change control processes. They're not just technical aids, they also can help in maintaining transparency and building trust and confidence with stakeholders. Right? Does anybody have any questions for project plan development?
I have a question for you.
Yes.
How do you handle stakeholder disagreements during the planning phase?
Yes. So if there is a disagreement, I focus on the mission or goal. I ask questions to, I guess, understand why someone prefers one approach over another, and then try to find a medium or like compromise that keeps the goal in focus. That makes sense. Thank you for your question, George. All right, here's a graphic of a Gantt chart. All right, this the Gantt chart assists on project planning and tracking. So on the left section, it displays the timeline of the project broken down into tasks. And then each horizontal bar represents a task with its duration, while the arrows indicate task dependencies. For instance, tasks like planning must be completed before moving to development. Um, Milestones such as launch dates are marked as significant moments for review or deliverable completions. You have your task dependencies. You notice how certain tasks rely on prior steps to progress. So, for example, marketing campaign development can only begin after completing product design. Sorry, I know it's kind of hard to see the task names. And then you also have your resource allocations, which is not displayed in this particular image, but in some Gantt chart tools, you can align the resources like team members with their respective tasks to prevent overloading anyone. So these tools are essential for visually tracking the progress, managing interdependencies, and ensuring resources are allocated efficiently throughout the project's lifecycle. Right now we have our risk management. So every IT project, big or small, comes with its own set of risks that can easily throw things off course. That's why it's so important to dedicate time during the planning phase to brainstorm potential risk. When we bring together different perspectives, whether technical, managerial, or operational, we can identify risks more thoroughly. So once we know what risk we're up against, we can use tools like risk matrices to prioritize them, focusing on those that have the highest likelihood and then the most severe impact. But just identifying risk isn't enough. We also need to be proactive in managing them. This means putting together contingency plans and continuously monitoring risk as the project progresses. So, for example, in cloud migration projects, a major concern could be data breaches. To manage these risks, we could encrypt sensitive data, conduct the migration in phases, and train users on best security practices. So by taking these precautions, we can also keep the project on track and preserve stakeholder confidence. Does anybody have any questions on risk management?
Hi, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
What's the most unexpected risk you've ever faced, whether in a project or outside of it, and how did you address it?
Okay. So again, like I said, I don't have much IT project management experience, but just relating with my work, one time we had a weather system unexpectedly interfered with our satellite communication, so we had to quickly switch to an alternate satellite and kind of adapt the plan to ensure continuous operations. is the only thing I could think of that will relate to that. Thank you, Anasia, for your question. All right, so here is risk matrix and risk management flowchart. So the risk matrix ensures that we allocate resources efficiently to deal with the high priority risks like data security during cloud migration. Meanwhile, the flowchart emphasizes that risk management isn't a one-time activity, it's a continuous process. So by following these steps, IT projects stay adaptable, reducing their likelihood of surprises and ensuring successful outcomes. So to read this chart, for the green zone, it's the more low risk. So the risks here are minimum, requiring only like basic monitoring. For instance, in the cloud migration project, a risk like mild delays in a non-critical task might fall here. You have your yellow zone, which is moderate risk. These risks could disrupt the project if left unchecked, like minor configuration issues during setup. Contingency plans are essential for these. And then you have your red zone, your critical risk. These are the most dangerous risks requiring immediate action. For example, a critical risk in cloud migration could be a full-scale data breach, necessitating encryption and then access control as mitigation strategies. And then we have our risk management flowchart. This flowchart illustrates a systematic approach to risk management, emphasizing continuous monitoring throughout the project lifecycle. So for risk identification, during the cloud migration, risks like downtime or security breaches are identified through brainstorming and technical analysis with the IT team. Then you have your risk analysis or assessment. Using the matrix, risks are evaluated for their likelihood, like how often system outages occur, and their impact, like potential financial potential financial loss. And you have your risk evaluation, and then your mitigations. So preventive measures are planned for security risk. Strategies might include enabling multi-factor authentication or encrypting, like I said before. Okay, moving on to the critical path method analysis and Gantt chart. So the critical path method is an essential tool in project management. It helps pinpoint the tasks that are crucial to keeping the project on track, ensuring that the resources are allocated where they're most needed. So for example, in a software rollout, tasks like system configuration and testings are typically on a critical path, meaning they need to be completed on time to avoid any delays. On the other hand, Gantt charts provide a visual representation of the project's tasks, making it easier to see how everything fits together. So they help teams track progress, understand dependencies, and quickly spot any potential roadblocks, allowing them to address issues before they become bigger problems. So anybody have any questions on critical path analysis and Gantt charts?
Yeah, how do you ensure that all stakeholders are satisfied with the final project deliverables?
Is that for this slide?
No, I think I'm jumping ahead a little bit. But specifically for Gantt charts, I guess, have you ever had to rework your project schedule significantly? And if so, what caused it?
Okay. So yes, I have during a satellite upgrade. We had unexpected equipment delays forced us to kind of adjust our timeline. So we had to shift tasks around to keep the mission on track. But thank you, George, for your question. All right, on to project closure and quality management. So project closure isn't just about finishing up tasks. It's an opportunity to wrap things up properly and reflect on what worked well and what could be improved for the future. So a smooth closure helps make sure the deliverables meet expectations, minimizes the chances of lingering issues, and contributes to better organizational practices moving forward. And then for quality management tools like Six Sigma or Pareto charts can be especially helpful here. They can highlight areas for improvement and ensure the final outcome meets the standards we set from the start. So a key part of closure that often gets overlooked is the lessons learned meeting. So during these discussions, companies frequently realize that earlier communication hiccups could have been avoided if there had been more proactive stakeholder engagement. Any questions on project closure? I believe, George, this is where you was asking the questions about how do you ensure all stakeholders are satisfied? What you were saying?
Yeah, I was definitely jumping ahead, and that I'm curious about that now, if it's more appropriate.
Oh, no worries. So in our satellite operations, we conduct a final review with everyone involved to ensure that all requirements are met before we sign off. So that's how we satisfy them with the final project deliverables.
Okay, great, thanks.
Great
I have a
question.
question as well.
Go ahead.
Can you share a time when a quality control tool helped you identify and resolve an issue?
Sure. Yeah. So our pre-launch checklist acts as a quality control tool. So once it's caught a missing data upload, that would have caused mission failure. Hope that answered your questions. Thank you, Anasia. All right, so conclusion. Today we've touched on some crucial aspects of IT project management, including communication, planning, risk management, and project closure. These elements are key to ensuring a project success. As we reflect on what we discussed, it's clear that achieving project goals requires not just technical knowledge, but also strong leadership and effective teamwork. So to wrap things up, remember that best project managers are those who can balance these skills and keep everything running smoothly, even when challenges arise. So thank you all for your time today, and I encourage you to take these insights back to your own projects and teams. And here's a little quote from Steve Jobs. Great things in business are never done by one person. They're done by a team. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you very much.